Hey guys, this is another episode of Mostly MMA, and I'm your host, Paul Bryant. And today I'm here with an awesome guest, the immortal Matt Brown. How are you doing, buddy?
Very good.
Awesome, man. You got any good plans for the weekend, man?
Just staying with the family. Wife is going out of town, so I'm on good duty.
Awesome, man. Will you be watching UFC 214? What do you think about the John Jones and the Daniel Cormier fight? How do you see that one going?
I got Evans. I think should win, but who knows? Cormier is an athlete, so
definitely.
I would say for sure.
Yeah, that's a tough one for sure. Now you fought Damian Maia before, and he's going against Woodley for the title. What do you think Maia's chances are in that one?
I think he has a real good. I mean, if he can implement his game, he can beat anybody in the world, I think.
Yeah. Do you think Maia can get him to the ground?
Yeah, I do. Whether he does or not, I don't know, but he definitely can. It's an interesting fight for sure.
Yeah. The Cyborg and Evinger for the 145 title. Any thoughts on that one?
I've never seen Evinger fight, but Cyborg's a hard trick to beat, that's for sure.
Yeah, same here. I haven't seen Evinger either, so that should be interesting. It makes you wonder about 145 because they actually don't have any ranking. No top 5, no top 10, so I'd be curious to see moving forward what they do with that division.
Yeah, right. I don't know what happened to the Durand girl either. She was supposed to be the champion, right?
Yeah, she got stripped because of course you know that, but she got stripped because she refused to fight Cyborg from the PEDs or whatever.
Oh yeah, okay. So
which
I don't know. The whole division's weird right now.
Yeah, it was kind of strange because you knew winning that title, you knew whoever won was going to have to fight Cyborg. They made that division for her, so I found that strange.
Yeah, right.
One fight I'm looking forward to on 214 is Lawler and Cerrone, and you fought both these guys. What do you think about that matchup?
That's a pretty good fight. I think if Lawler can land a punch, then he'll, he's got a lot more power than Cerrone, so I think that could go a long way.
Definitely.
For him. Other than that, I think, and I could definitely see it going either way. I'm leaning towards Lawler. I just don't know where his head is at these days.
Yeah, I hear you. Matt, you used to have your own podcast, didn't you? Whatever happened to that?
Yeah, I did it for a while. It wasn't my own, totally my own. I did it with a couple other guys, but I plan on probably getting back to it soon, sometime. It's just a lot of work, I guess. Well, I mean, you surely know. So
yeah, man.
Yeah, it's just it's a lot of work. So I think I need to keep all my focus on my eggs in one basket and focus on what I need to focus on.
No, I hear you, man. Speaking of John Jones and stuff, there was some talks of John Jones versus Brock Lesnar, some rumors of that. What would you think about a fight like that?
Yeah, that'd be a very interesting fight. I mean, I would definitely lean towards John Jones in the long run, but I mean, of course, Lesnar has so much power and strength that you just can't count out. But I mean, John Jones is a 10 times better fighter, though.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what kind of weight John Jones would weigh in at if he were to fight at heavyweight.
That's right, too. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
There was a video I seen on YouTube where you guys were kind of pranking strangers. You were like coming up to people and you're like, "Hey man, what were you doing texting my wife?" Whose idea was that video?
That was Roman Atwood. He's in Minnesota. pranksters. So yeah, that's where that came from. And they actually approached me for it. It's a really funny video. It's a fun time doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was watching that, and like some of the guys were just like, "Fuck this, man!" They're trying to get out of there.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot that they didn't even show. I mean, the whole thing was just hilarious from beginning to end. We actually pranked a cop on there too, and they didn't show that. So yeah, there was just a whole. I mean, we did it for like 2 days straight. We got a lot of material, and they just picked the best.
How did it go down with the cop?
He was pretty nervous, I think. He was trying to defend himself. Yeah, it was kind of funny, actually. I mean, but I guess they're not allowed to show those certain things. They've all them guys have been to jail before, so they're trying not to go back to jail.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's a good goal. You did some coaching on the recent season of The Ultimate Fighter Redemption. Was you ever kind of like sitting around just like, man, I'm so glad I'm a coach and not back in this house again like these guys are?
No, I like being in the house. So it didn't bother me at all. I enjoyed that, but yeah, I was happy to be a coach. It was kind of surreal being in there. But yeah, it was cool either way.
Awesome, man. I know I've seen that you and Jesse Taylor, you guys have been training together a lot and stuff. How's that going?
It's real good, man. He's a monster. And, we push each other. We both have, good energy. We push each other well. I think we complement each other's styles pretty well. So, it's a great training partner there. Great student and great teacher also. We work together good like that. Nice.
I don't know if you get asked much about your time on season 7 of The Ultimate Fighter. I recently rewatched that, and so I don't know if you've been asked about Jeremy May in a long time, but I was just wondering, how did you find out he had messed with your tobacco?
Gosh, I don't even remember, honestly. Off the top of my head, yeah, I don't even really remember.
Do you ever?
I think it was just.
Go ahead.
I think it was. I just tasted it or whatever.
Crazy, man. Have you been asked about him, or have you ever ran into him again since The Ultimate Fighter?
Yeah, I think once he was at a fight or something. I think he's like heavyweight now, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. What do you do,
Yeah.
He's just kind of a douchebag, and he's not really the kind of guy I'm trying to hang out with, so.
No, for sure, man. I understand that. When you fought him, Forrest was screaming at you, saying, "Release the animal, Matt." What were you thinking when you were hearing that?
Well, I guess, maybe I probably should have communicated my own game plan a little better with Forrest. And, I was a young fighter, and I was pretty nervous on there, so I didn't really, maybe I didn't really communicate as good as I ever should have. But just in my head, I knew I just wanted to let him wear himself out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Forrest wanted me to just go right after him the whole time. So,
yeah.
My game plan ended up working. And, so, me and Forrest actually talked about that before. And, we've had some laughs about it. So,
yeah.
I guess, one thing going through my head was, I got this. Calm down, Forrest. I got it, buddy. But at the same time, I put myself at risk, too. It was a risky game plan.
Yeah. So you did stay in contact with Forrest here and there then?
Oh, yeah. He works for UFC now, too. So, yeah. I still see him. I lived out in Vegas after The Ultimate Fighter for a while. So, yeah. So, we've kept in touch.
I remember Rampage's expression and stuff when he found out that you guys were doing some of these fight picks just by flipping coins.
Oh, yeah, I don't remember that.
Yeah. So did you stay in touch with anyone else from your days on The Ultimate Fighter?
Yeah, Matt Riddle we stay in touch with a little bit. My wife is friends with his wife. CD, I've hung out with him a few times. I think, I stayed in touch with Amir for a while. So, yeah. That's about it.
Speaking of Amir, I was wondering, you and Amir had a really good scrap on the house. Where does Amir rank on your toughest fighters list? That you've went against.
Gosh, yeah, I never thought about that before. I don't know. I mean, I think that every fighter has, something tough about him. When you get to this level, I mean, everybody's got something tough. So I wouldn't say he's one of the toughest, but I mean, he's definitely one of the toughest to beat, though.
Yeah,
he's just a hard to find a way to beat.
Yeah, you've been in a lot of wars, man. Out of your wars, which one did you have to dig deepest? I know you've been in 5-round fights, and I mean, just which one was just like, man, you just really had to keep digging?
Probably the Robbie Lawler fight.
Yeah, Lawler, man, that was an awesome one. Is there any time frame when we might see you back in the octagon?
I'm hoping October 7th in Vegas. I was told that I'll be on that card. I just haven't gotten an opponent yet.
Nice. Anybody you got your eye on?
Nobody in particular. Generally I just fight anybody. So
yeah.
Just what happens between now and then.
Yeah, you've had a long list of killers that you've had to go against, especially recently. One fight I always wanted to see, man, was you and GSP. I was wondering, how do you think you would have done against George?
It's hard to say. I mean, I always felt like I matched up pretty well with him, but honestly, my wrestling in the octagon I haven't performed up to the level of wrestling that I have in me. So, in the past, maybe he would have been able to take advantage of that and beat me, but I think I could wrestle with him in the gym. So, if I'm able to do that in the octagon, and if I'm able to, perform as well as I can, then I think I can beat anybody in the world, including George.
Right, for sure, man. I know something you've kind of been getting into is coaching. I know I've listened to some interviews where you've been enjoying coaching. We see guys like Brian Stan. He went into commentary, and a guy like Chris Lieben. He's talking about becoming a ref. And I talked to Joe Stevenson. He was talking about how he wouldn't mind becoming a judge. What do you think about stuff like that from when your fight career's over?
Well, I mean, I want to keep coaching because I just like being in the gym and training with people. So that's more so than anything else in the sport. I mean, that's the funnest part of the sport altogether. So, I like that better than, I wouldn't mind doing like commentary or reffing or whatever, but I don't feel like it's necessarily my forte.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have a good knowledge of the sport, and I would be a good coach. And honestly, I think I'd probably be a better coach than I would fighter. So,
yeah.
I think I want to stick to my core competency and do what I do best, and be able to enjoy my life to the fullest. And you put all those together, and that to me equals coaching.
Definitely, man. I asked on the page, if people had any fan questions for you. And so I got a couple fan questions for you. And one was wondering if you would ever consider going up a weight class, or if you're just solid at 170.
No, I've thought about it a bunch of times. I have a real hard time making weight, and I have to be real strict with my diet and really on point. So it's crossed my mind, but I feel like it'd be not as strong as a lot of the guys that be fighting at 185, and not necessarily all the guys, but there's a lot of guys at that weight that are just gigantic. So
yeah,
I think a lot of guys I'd be fine with, and then some. I just wouldn't want to lose because I'm outsized, and I can still make the weight at 170 perfectly fine. So there's no reason really to do it. It's
Yeah, I hear you, man. Another fan question I got. I don't know if you've ever heard of, if you know what an anthro animal is. Do you know what that is?
A what?
An anthro animal?
I don't.
Okay, it's just basically like a half human, half animal. Somebody was wondering what would you be? What kind of anthro animal would you be?
A woolly mammoth.
Woolly mammoth. Another fan question. Somebody wants to know what are your thoughts on fighters moving on to Bellator?
I have more power to them. I mean, it's cool with me. Whatever they want to do with themselves. I mean, if they're getting more money over there, I don't have nothing against it. I hope everybody does well. I hope the best for other people, man. I hope for the guys that go over there, get rich and are able to retire in the Caribbean with $1 million in their pocket. So
yeah,
I hope it works out for everybody.
Another one. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, it's not for me. I mean, my dream from the beginning was to be in the UFC, and I haven't changed that dream at all. I still want to be the UFC champion. I still want to get as far as I can in this sport. Even if that's not being champion, and I want to be in the UFC. So
yeah, bud.
That's just me.
Definitely. You definitely have a championship quality about yourself. You've been in the UFC for a long time. You've had many fights, many wins, many wars, many. When you look at a card and Matt Brown's on the card, you're like, that's fight of the night right there.
Yeah, and I want to keep it that way. So, I just want to get back in there and win some more fights, man. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, I can't wait, dude. Somebody wants to know, of course you can't talk on here without somebody bringing up Conor McGregor. Somebody wants to know what's your thoughts on the McGregor versus Mayweather?
I mean, I don't think my thoughts are unique from anyone else's. Everybody knows that Conor doesn't have a chance. But, I'm going to watch it too, just like everybody. It's sort of, I kind of made the analogy that it's, like watching the lottery,
mm-hmm.
where we know our numbers aren't going to hit, but we're going to watch just in case.
Right.
It's sort of like that. I mean, we know exactly what's going to happen. It's going to be just like watching lottery. You see the first couple of numbers, like, still going to keep watching. But basically, by the time you get, towards the later numbers, you just start giving up and start looking at something else. And it's going to be the same way. The first couple rounds, we'll be like, yeah, this is what we knew was going to happen. But I'm still going to keep watching, and then eventually you're just going to give up, and probably if it makes it an 8th or 9th round, we'll probably be focused more on our pizza and beer than we will on the fight.
Yeah, for sure, buddy.
And
go ahead.
Floyd has never had an exciting fight, so
mm-hmm.
we're not watching. He's not going to change anything with Conor. He goes in the fight to win. He doesn't care about anything else. So we're not going to see an exciting fight. We're probably not going to see a knockout, but we might if Conor gets knocked out. But there's nothing to see here. It's an awesome event. More power to Conor. I love that he's been able to put himself in this position. But it's not a fight. It's an event.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think everybody kind of shares that same thought. You're going to watch to see what happens. I liked your lottery analogy, that's for sure, bud. Was wondering if you could rematch somebody, who would you want to rematch? I would love to see you and Lawler fight again.
Yeah, I'd love to have that fight again. I mean, I'm not really a big rematch guy, honestly. The way I look at it, I had my time, I had my 15 minutes, and if I don't get it done, then that's my fault. So I'll move on.
Yeah, it was definitely a fight that was like, I know the decision didn't go your way, but man, that was a hell of a war. I watched that fight a bunch of times. I know everyone else has too.
Yeah, no, I'd love to fight him again, but I honestly, I'd probably say if I had to pick one person to rematch, it'd probably be Cowboy, because that was my first knockout in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, that was another great fight, man. Matt Brown doesn't do boring fights. Yeah, that was an awesome one too, man. When you go back to the beginning, what inspired you to get into MMA?
Mainly just to get away from the partying and drugs and everything kind of lifestyle that I was in. But I just love the martial arts, so and I was pretty good at it. So put all those together, and just the formula kind of worked out perfect for me.
When you first started, like when you first went in and you did like your first MMA practice, was there ever a point in your head where you're like, man, I don't really know if this is for me?
I mean, there's definitely times when you wonder if you're good enough to do it, but I never really asked myself if I needed to. If it was for me, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand. Hey, I don't know if you would want to answer this question, but I heard you were arrested in Canada, and then you actually got married the next day.
Well, not the next day.
Not the next day? What happened, man? If you want to talk about it.
No, I don't mind talking about it. So we were driving from Ohio to Vermont, and accidentally we were going to Niagara Falls to stay the night, and accidentally went to the Canadian border, and we couldn't turn around. So when we got to the customs, they, we're just going to turn around, and they asked if we had any guns in the car, and I said no, because I was just going to turn around and go back to America.
Mm-hmm.
And I did have guns in the car, and they searched the car, and so I got charged with international smuggling of firearms and lying to customs. Just a shitload of charges, and I was looking at like 10 years in a federal pen, and it cost me a shit ton of money to get out of it, and everything got totally dismissed, which is why I can talk about it. But it was, I got completely cleared of everything, and they understood. The only thing I didn't get was my guns back. So
oh man.
But yeah, so I went to jail for 4 days, and then got released on the end of the fourth day, and went straight to my wedding in Vermont.
Nice, man. Yeah, I wonder how come they didn't give you your guns back.
Well, I can get them back, but it's like $1,000 release, and they're not $1,000 guns.
Wow, that's something. I was wanting to ask you, Mighty Mouse didn't want to fight TJ. You were on Team Dillashaw on The Ultimate Fighter. What did you think about that? Mighty Mouse was saying that TJ should have to go down and win a fight at 125 first.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty indifferent to it, honestly. I mean, that's just the way he feels, and that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. I'm friends with both of them, so whatever they want to do, they do. On their own. It's not really my concern.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I got you. I had heard that he wasn't allowed to walk out to the I Am the Immortal for a while. Why wouldn't they let you come out to that song?
Actually, they wouldn't let me come out to Hatebreed, and then until that song was made. And when it was made for me, I told Dana that. I said, man, they made this song just for me. Come on, let me walk out to it. He said, okay.
Nice. What do you think is the most dominant martial art?
I wouldn't say that there's one. I mean, I think it goes beyond just the martial art, because it's got to do with the athlete and the implementation of whatever martial art it is. It's not. I would never say that there's one that dominates over others.
Yeah, I hear you. Some fighters, they do a little acting and stuff. Is that something you would be interested in?
You got a job for me?
What is it?
You got a job for me?
No, I'm not a producer.
It's nothing that I pursue, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But I would never turn down easy money either. That was, it's something if I feel that I could do well and make money at it, and it helps me or helps my family in our life goals, then I would do anything.
Definitely. I know you got a couple boys. Would you ever let them do MMA?
Of course, yeah. Yeah, they love it. So they actually do it all the time. So, I'm not going to push them to do anything. I just want them to grow up and do what makes them happy. If that's MMA, then that's MMA. If that's, as long as it's not being a ballerina.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm cool with whatever they do, as long as it makes them happy.
So you got them training then, do you? Are they doing some training?
Yeah, I don't force them to. I bring them to the gym all the time, and they love going to the gym with me, and we have fun. But I don't push anything on them at this age. They're only 6 years old, so I'm not forcing them to do anything.
Right.
I think the time will come when probably around 10 years old or so, when there's a real concern about being bullied and you being able to protect yourself, and it's time to start growing up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'll force them, but they'll be strongly encouraged at least.
Yeah.
But we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
No, definitely. What are some goals you have?
Man. I mean, number one is to be a good father, a good husband, and raise good kids. That's the number one thing. Everything pretty much funnels back to that at this point.
Yeah. How about injuries, man? What's the worst injury you've had to overcome? I think at one point you were in a hospital. You had to stay in there for about a week with no light or something.
Yeah, that was, I guess from a fight. Yeah, that was, I don't know, I've never had to stay at night in the hospital. I've been to the hospital after a fight a few times, I guess. I don't know, my last fight with Cowboy, I broke my cheekbone. But I don't know how major of an injury that is. I broke my jaw a couple times. Tore a ligament in my hand in the Lawler fight. Well, before the Lawler fight, actually. And, I probably completely finished tearing it during the fight.
Yeah.
Gosh, so many injuries, man. I've actually been pretty lucky. I haven't, had a lot of injuries, comparatively speaking. But I'd say, those are probably the worst of the worst there.
I know. So your hand was already injured before the Lawler fight. I remember. I think it was around round 4. We had to shake it out. You'd hurt your hand, but you were still punching with it anyways. Is that about right?
Yeah.
I was wondering, do you have a favorite strike, submission, or combo?
Pretty much any of them that land is my favorite one. I don't know, not really. But I'd say, probably elbows my favorite.
Yeah. That's cool, man. I'll wrap this up. I really appreciate you coming on, dude. I'm a huge fan. It was so awesome to have you on. Is there anything you would like to say or anything before we wrap it up?
Just thank the fans for, always being there. And, I feel like I still have a lot of strong fan support, even though I haven't fought in a long time. So, that keeps me going, keeps me motivated.
Awesome, man. Again, thanks so much, dude. You're just one of my all-time favorite fighters, and this was so awesome to get to interview you. I like to think that I'm like a Joe Rogan or an Ariel Helwani, but really at the end of the day, I'm just a fan, and thanks a lot for giving me some of your time.
My pleasure, man. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, buddy. I'll let you go now. You take care. Have a good weekend, brother.
All right, cool. See you later.
But later, bud. All right, guys. That was another episode of Mostly MMA with the immortal Matt Brown. I'm your host, Paul Bryant. Thanks so much for listening, guys.